Depending on where you live, life has begun to return to some sort of normalcy.
Yeah, stadiums are starting to open up. Concert tours have been scheduled. Places of worship have reopened their doors. And rush hour is back.
In New York City, it really is.
Yeah.
And next week at our church, you get to sing with your mask on. I know. Some people are excited about it and others a little anxious.
Yeah, they've kind of enjoyed the slowing down, the fewer commitments and more family time. And some people are feeling a little anxious about the great return. Take a look.
It's been a year since I've been back into my office.
Over a year ago, if I saw a bar with 1,000 people in it, I'd hop right online. Now, if I see, a restaurant with more than 5 people, I tell my family we're going somewhere else.
This past year, countless people have uttered the phrase, "Let's get together when this is all over." But not everybody means it. According to a recent survey, 49% of adults are uncomfortable about returning to in-person interactions when the pandemic ends.
We really didn't bring my son anywhere during most of the pandemic. Now that he's almost 2, we were like, we got to bring this kid back out into the world.
Me and my husband got to spend a lot of time together. We've been married almost 38 years, and we didn't kill each other.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. Sometimes just staying home, watching some movies, Netflix, chilling, it's fine. Get your glass of wine or 2, and it's very, very nice.
There's an interesting sort of mix right now among clients. So there are definitely some people who are ready to be back in the world. They miss seeing their coworkers. They miss being able to do family functions. I'm finding in my practice a much larger number of people who are anxious for a lot of different reasons.
Many people are afraid that returning to normal will mean letting go of quality family time.
I hope when life returns to normal that the world slows down.
The blessing, I would say, is just spending all this time together. It was nice being a hands-on mom instead of always just being a career mom.
I've gotten very comfortable at home. I've gotten, unfortunately comfortable with weekends in my backyard.
Just that anxiety over the unknown is so unnerving.
A lot of people have finally sort of settled into a place that feels really good to them, right? They've got boundaries around what they do and don't do and really feel good about the way they're managing their lives.
But when they do find their comfort zone, there is much to look forward to.
Part of me is ready just to kind of get back into the groove.
Dating.
I'm looking with some friends, trying to find an apartment in New York City.
Being able to go to the beach and go swimming and just outdoor dining and just feeling a little more safe.
Okay, let's unpack this. Here with us is marriage and family therapist Esther Boykin. Hi, Esther. It's good to see you. So this is such an interesting conversation because I think there are 2 ways to look at it. You have people who don't want to go out because they're afraid, they're concerned about the illness. And then there are people who have kind of these anxiety issues about emerging. So what do you say to your clients who are on the kind of the anxiety side? Like, you know what, I kind of got used to this and I don't really want to go out right now.
So I think the first thing is to really normalize that. We've talked a lot about over the last year getting back to normal, but the truth is that normal is whatever you do sort of consistently, right? Like this is the new routine, and in some ways this has become our new normal. And so changing that and figuring out where your comfort zone is reasonable for it to create some level of anxiety, just as it did at the beginning of, sort of this period of time where we were trying to figure out what looks right. So I think making a lot of space and being really compassionate with yourself when those anxious feelings comes up is kind of the first step.
Yeah, I love that. And you have this great analogy about a bear hibernating, which I frankly feel like, that I think does that gives us all the space to know, like, we don't have to rush into the world. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so the bear analogy, I just sort of stumbled on it. And Jenna, I'm like you, I feel like a bear now. Pretty much I feel like a bear every winter. But, at least in my mind, I always assumed, bears hibernate. And then after the first thaw, like they come out and they get back to life as it was all spring and summer. But realistically, what happens is they test the waters. Like sometimes bears come out, they see what it looks like. They kind of decide, is there enough food out here? Is it warm enough yet? And sometimes they go right back into the cave and hibernate a little bit longer. And I think giving ourselves that same sort of permission, you can try things, you can go out with friends, you can be back in your office, be more social, and then check in with yourself. Is this working for me or not?
Okay, Esther, we're going to take a real quick break, just a quick one, then we'll come right back. We want to continue our conversation coming up after this.
Which vaccine did you get?
I got Pfizer.
I got Moderna.
Nice.
I'm
question that leads nowhere. It's like asking, are you more Tylenol or Advil?
Let me guess. The second dose knocked her out for 24 hours.
The second dose knocked me out for about 24 hours.
Wow, that sounds like a unique experience you should tell everyone about. Oh, I said that out loud. Quick laugh, so she thinks you were kidding.
I'll f***ing kill you.
I got that Johnson & Johnson, baby. One and done.
And now you're totally safe.
Quarantine was good, though?
No.
Great.
But recently I have been going to dinner again.
Did I just say I've been going to dinner again? Should I give him more details or should I die?
I went to one dinner outdoors and one dinner indoors. Do I have brain damage? I think I might have permanent brain damage.
Okay, that sketch from SNL resonated with lots of people.
Yeah, and marriage and family therapist Esther Boykin is here. She's going to talk to us about returning to normalcy and some of the mixed feelings that comes with it. Esther, that makes us laugh so much because it is the type of conversation
yes,
that
there's only that conversation.
Everybody is having. Hoda and I were just saying that I think most of us realize that life before, like our normal life, wasn't exactly working. We don't want to return exactly to that, but I do think we have to create the boundaries in order to keep what we want. What do we do? Help us.
It's exactly what you just said. And I think, you know, at the beginning of sort of the pandemic and quarantine, I talked a lot about boundaries with clients and other people. And it's the same thing. And I think part of the reason that we are coming to realize some of what was not working before in our lives is that we were not super intentional about setting boundaries, about thinking about what makes us comfortable, what makes us uncomfortable, what pace do we want to really live our lives at. And so I think this is a really great opportunity for folks to get a sense of what have you discovered in this time that really works for you? And then start sharing that as you think about changing work schedules, kids back in school. How can you hold on to those things?
I think it's being bold enough to, because we had an excuse to say no, which was so easy for those of us who have difficulty saying no. But now you just kind of have to stand on your own 2 feet and say, no, actually, I'm not going to go, but thank you for asking me.
Absolutely. And I think I like to say, so the last year has been practice. Many of us are really bad at setting boundaries and saying no and, you know, just sort of owning our preferences and our comfort levels. And so you've practiced for a whole year. So now it's time to, as you said, stand on your own 2 feet and really establish those boundaries. But also it's a good time to remember people understood during the quarantine. People will continue to understand moving forward.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you. Thank you so much, Esther, for being with us.